welcome to Spark TV. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here.
And so good because we recorded a podcast yesterday. So we're old friends now.
Yeah, we've got this.
I love it. I love it. So let's start out. I like to just start with a bit about what you do now and then a little bit of the backstory. So how did you actually get to your current business?
Okay. So right now I run Unstoppable Ecommerce, which is an e-commerce marketing. It's like an agency and training school, but I like to call it, like teaching hospitals on Grey's Anatomy. You're a Grey's Anatomy fan like
I'm
me.
currently binging ER, so I do have some level of understanding.
So it's like that in that it's a teaching agency. So all my clients are aware that what I learn from their accounts, I teach to my students. And all my clients are actually past students. So they've been through my program. So I teach Facebook ads, but not just Facebook ads, all the other stuff that you need to have right for your Facebook ads to be successful. So, making sure you know who your audience is and you know your numbers, you're going to be profitable, that your website's actually ready for that traffic, email marketing, all the good stuff. Amazing. And then, yes, my clients know that, hey, if this campaign works really well, that I'm going to go share that with my students and go, hey, this is working really well right now. So those that can't afford to have the budgets to actually have me run their ads can still learn from the learnings because, that's the big difference, isn't it? It's like having that budget to actually test and measure and see what's working. And if you don't have that, you don't get the same insights. So the idea is, it runs like a teaching hospital.
That is so cool. I love that.
So e-commerce teaching agency, training school, with a little bit of consulting thrown in here and there. But that's kind of what I do now. Wow, going back how it all started. So I was 23 when I first started working for myself, quit my job. My mum had just moved in with me. She'd just divorced my dad. Best thing she ever did. And
good. I like a good news story. Yeah. Yes.
And she lent me her divorce settlement to start my first business.
Oh my God. Mum. Wow. Happy days. So good.
We went, I had no idea what I was doing, right? I went through a bit of depression, anxiety in my job, and I was just really unwell and couldn't work for somebody else. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. I was just in sales, nothing exciting, like working for a floor covering company.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sales is always a good skill. Sales is always a good skill though to have.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. So I got to the point where I just couldn't work. So I quit my job. Unfortunately, I quit we didn't realize how slow it would take for the divorce settlement to come through. So I quit my job. Mum came to live with me. I had a company car, so I lost that. And so we had no car, and then we had no money. Somehow we always found money for wine. I don't know. We did the baked beans on toast thing, but we always had wine.
Oh, I love it.
So, eventually the money came through and we started this discount card business. And it probably took me about a year to realize that it was a discount card for tourists, because at the start I was that person that had no target market. Who's going to buy this? Oh, this is awesome for everyone. Everyone's going to buy this.
Yes.
I had a $16,000 TV commercial. I had billboards. I had radio ad. We had it in our head that we were going to do everything amazing from the get-go, and we just spent money like it was going out of fashion.
Wow.
We lost about $100,000 in the first year.
Wow. Yep.
It was a $37 card. I think I sold about 5 in the first year.
Oh no.
Looking back now,
good learning experience.
My mum calls it my university degree. She doesn't care at all. She's we had so much fun. I'm just oh my God, we lost so much money. Yeah. But she said, look, it's your uni degree. Because eventually I was okay, I've got no more money to spend. I can't just keep spending it. What am I going to do? And that's where I discovered Facebook. And at the time it was this free platform where you could post stuff and people would actually see it. And I started doing that. So with the discount card, I had businesses that would give discounts. And then those businesses would see me on this Facebook thing. And, we're talking 2013 maybe by now. So a while back when it was still kind of new, especially in Australia. And they were like, oh, can you set me up one of those Facebook thingies? And I was like,
cool. Yeah.
So I started doing it for the businesses. And then with our last bit of cash, we decided we were having lunch one day and we're like, oh, there's this cool conference, Mum said. It's called Social Media Marketing World.
Oh my God.
San Diego.
Such a good one to go to. Yeah.
He's like, do you want to, should we do it? Should we just like spend all the money we've got left to go to this conference? We're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So we booked tickets to San Diego with the last of our cash and went to Social Media Marketing World. And it was like huge eye opener. So 2013 was when we went to that conference. So, we'd been following Pat Flynn and he was there, like Amy Porterfield, all these Murray Smith, amazing people that I got to meet. And it was just really eye-opening. There was like the person from the local police station was there, the local plumber, everyone, because they all had Facebook pages and they're all doing these things. I'm like, wow, we're so behind in Australia. Like no one had really cottoned on quite how important it was yet.
Yeah.
But when I came back, I kind of just decided to open a social media agency.
Love it.
And I was posting for people and setting up their Facebook pages, things like that, doing some consulting around it, running workshops, also still had the discount card business, not because it was making any money, but it was my baby and I was so emotionally attached. It took me 5 years to finally close that.
Wow.
So 5 years of work that was worth nothing, like never made any money from it, but I was just so attached to it. But in the meantime, built up this social media business. And then one day I had staff at that point. And then one day I lost like 3 of my big clients all in one day.
Oh, wow.
One had brought in somebody because they'd gotten bigger and bigger. So they brought in someone internally. Somebody else was moving. So like it was not that we were terrible, but it just coincidentally lost them all. Had to fire my staff member that day.
Wow.
Like my mum worked unpaid, so she was fired. Then
thanks, Mum. Love that. Yeah.
I was working, like I had this big office in the city. I don't know why I ever decided I needed that.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to scale everything back. And I moved back into like home office. Best thing I ever did. I've never gone back to an office. I love working from home.
I don't think I'll ever go back either.
No need for it, right?
No, that's it. It is literally you're then working to pay rent for someone.
Exactly.
Like it's so stupid.
If you're listening to this and you're like striving to have an office because, it makes you look bigger or feel better or whatever, don't do it. It's such a waste of money. Like I do all my meetings online if I can. I hate doing face-to-face.
That's right. I'm like, I'll go to an event and have a wine. That's my in person. Fine. Yeah, that's it.
So eventually along the line, I decided to specialize in Facebook ads and the advertising side of things and kind of went to that. And then, about 4 years ago, started with a business partner originally, Unstoppable Ecommerce. So cool. Went from Facebook ads to specializing in e-commerce Facebook ads and then eventually into this. So a bit of a long-winded backstory there. It's so relevant.
It's so relevant though. Like literally, I do love that because so many people are like, oh, I just don't have the right idea. I'm like, the first idea is never the right idea, but you have to go through the pain. I think it's like a rite of passage.
Yeah. Like I was going to be a PE teacher. Like this Facebook wasn't even invented when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do with my life. And now here I am teaching this marketing tool that, wasn't even around. So if you're not quite sure what you want to do, don't worry because you'll probably change your mind several times.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so true. So you were really OG Facebook. Like you were there in the beginning.
I was there when it was easy.
Yeah. I remember I had I was a blogger back then. Yes. And it was so good, right? Like you could just grow. I remember one day, I don't know how many followers I had on this page, but I remember like sitting down with someone and we're like, right, we're just about at 10,000 or we're going to sit here and going to go and get all of these followers. And it was as easy as that. It was as easy as just reaching out to people, post this. Yeah. And now I'm like, I've just sat down and planned content for next year. I'm like, oh my God, this is so painful.
Content is like a whole nother ball game now, a whole new beast of a thing.
It's just never ending. I find that's the biggest thing I think is like, you've just got to have so much content out there, like to compete with all of the other noise that's going on.
I've actually done my hair today because I'm doing a reel after this. I'm like, well, if something's on, I'm like, okay, I'll do my hair for you, Danielle.
Yeah.
And then
I'm so honored.
I'm like, well, because my hair is done, I'm going to, batch out a whole bunch of content now because it doesn't just get done every day.
Oh my God, there is no way I would show up every day with clean hair and makeup on to do
I'm
a
lucky
reel.
if I wash my hair once a week.
Same. I'm currently full of dry shampoo. It's I'm waiting for, a dry shampoo company to sponsor me. I'm like, I feel like I'm your biggest customer. Why not?
Yes. And you can kind of get away with it online. Hey, people don't touch it or come near it, so you can kind
of just
spray
looks like
a lot.
Oh my God, I love it. So, I mean, obviously, you mentioned the discount card business and investing so much money into that and perhaps not seeking the return. But I love the fact that you called it the university degree, right?
Yes.
And carried through. Totally. And it wouldn't have been, just you would have seen the social media marketing conference if you hadn't had a need to go. It's the fact that you were in business looking for marketing ideas and that kind of sparked it. So it just all makes sense. And so I'm interested, apart from my little tangent that I'm going on, super interested in the discount card business learnings, like what did you, because I feel like people do think that they need to invest in a lot of money in businesses, and perhaps it's not always the case. But I think that there's probably some lessons in there on, let's learn from someone who did actually invest the money and what happened.
Yeah. So I listened to a lot of the wrong people, right? I had a really dodgy business coach. If you're going to work with a business coach, make sure you talk to their other clients and find out, think how they work first.
Yes.
But, I was listening to, the person that sold the TV commercial. Oh yeah, you need this and you need that. Like I paid $5,000 to animate some pigs to go on my commercial. Like everyone's, oh yeah, it'll do better if you do this and it'll do better if you do that. And I remember like when they were building my website, I ended up getting a whole new logo designed because the first original designer had done a terrible job. And he's like, I can build you a website, but your branding's awful and you're not going to sell anything. So there was so many places where I kind of spent money unnecessarily. But just like bootstrap the things that you can, I had like a fancy desk and chair and things like that. Now I'm like been sitting on this chair for over 10 years, but I'm like, I can't get rid of it. I spent so much money on it. It's bright green, which was one of the branding colors. It was pink and green, the business.
Oh, that's funny.
So anything that you can, start small, bootstrap it, make sure there's a market for it first. So actually, which is hard with the discount card because you kind of need to get the businesses to give the discounts before you know if anyone's going to buy it. But
a bit of a chicken and egg style business.
Yeah, it really was hard. And also like I put myself through marketing afterwards, but then every time I learned something in the marketing course, I was like, oh, a target market, that would have been handy. Yeah. Knowing who I was talking to, that would have been amazing. I also kind of changed the business model a few times. So it started off that people paid to be on the card, and then the card, then I was charging for the card because I wanted to use it as a fundraiser for things. And then I ended up making it free for businesses to try and get more businesses. So you kind of, I think I was trying to double dip at the beginning where I was like, no, I need to make money from one side of it. But then a lot of businesses were like skeptical because they were like, well, how come you're not charging for it? This can't be very good. Or like, where do you make your money? And I used to say, well, one day lots of people will buy the card and then I'll make the money. One day.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
So just really working out and getting people around, like I should have found like somebody who was really good with marketing and business planning at the beginning. And I did go through, I did through the NICE program, which is really great if you're starting out and you haven't heard of that. It's like a government funded program. You can do like some business stuff, but there was like the sit down and go into the classroom, or you could do it, away. And I was like, no, I'm just gung-ho. I've already started. I don't need to stop and plan anything. I'm just going to keep going and I'll just do this course on the side. And thinking back, they did try and like get me to be more realistic with my financial projections and things like that. I'm like, no, I'm going to sell so many. Like I was just so confident. I don't know why. So really sitting down and planning things out and kind of planning for the worst case scenario, not the best, I guess, and working up from there, but really getting the support from people. Most businesses these days have been done before.
Yes.
There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There are so many things that you can do that haven't got a big barrier to entry. Like I'm in e-commerce, you can just go on, start selling on Etsy, or creating your own website on Shopify isn't that hard these days. So there are so many ways that you can start a business in a weekend if you want to. So you don't need to be spending big dollars to start up or to advertise, or social media is such a fantastic tool because you can, even now that it's not as easy as it used to be, you can create and find a community of people who love what you're doing without any money. You do need to invest that time, and like we were saying, content. But, especially if you're making something and you can share the process and share the story behind it, there's lots of ways that you can get out there without spending on TV commercials and radio and all the things that I was doing back then.
But it's interesting, your point around understanding your target market, right?
So important.
And that's like, but I think people do kind of go, should I be on radio? Should I be on TV? It's like, well, if you understand your target market, you'll know where they hang out. So, I
then billboards for tourists. Like tourists don't park in the local car parks because they generally don't have a car. Oh my God. I try not to think about it all, but and these days TV, so many people watch Netflix and streaming services that, social media really has become the platform of choice for advertising because so many people are consumed by their phones and on them constantly.
Yes.
You're more likely to get it in front of people. But like you say, which platform to use? Well, you need to know where your target market's hanging out.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so true. I love that. So talk to me about, obviously you do Facebook ads for e-commerce businesses, and we're having a little rant about target markets. So I know you are the sales and marketing queen when it comes to Facebook ads. So talk to me about that. What are people, so if I have an e-commerce brand or I'm thinking about starting one, what should I actually be thinking about when it comes to getting the brand out there, thinking about my sales and marketing? Are there some key things that you talk to your students about?
Yeah, the main thing is that, marketing essentially is the right message to the right person at the right time. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you've got to show them when they need to see it. So a lot of people with Facebook ads that have tried it and go, oh, it didn't work for my business, is they're putting out like a real salesy kind of pitch and just showing that to everyone.
Yeah.
And they go, well, that didn't work. And I have this great example of a skincare brand that's put out, we spent, I don't know, say $500 on top of funnel ads. So that's when you're showing an ad to a cold audience who's never heard from you about you before. And it got nothing. But we then spent the same again, retargeting those people that did go to the website or engage with ads, things like that. And then we made like $38,000 or something.
Whoa.
So it was a ridiculous return on ad spend. Like it was 77 times return for that retargeting ads, but nothing for the first ad. So if they'd stopped at those first ads, it would have been in that bucket of people that went, oh, Facebook ads don't work for me. But instead, from $1,000, they made 38,000. So
holy crap.
You've got to, be touching at different levels. So even if you're just doing free content, you've got to have that content that's just introducing the brand. Like no sales pitches, like, hey, I'm Karyn. I make bright colored socks. This is how I make them. I darn them in front of TV on the weekends and little elves help me. Like whatever your brand story is, just introduce that. And really putting the people behind the brand is so important these days, because I think quite often we try and make ourselves look bigger. We like have 5 email addresses, from Sandy.
Oh, yeah, I'm so guilty of that.
Because we want to look big, but actually people want to buy from small people. They don't want to support some big corporation that's already got bucket loads of money. They want to support that lady that's feeding her kids with the money that she makes from those bright colored socks. So share that story.
Right.
And then you need to have that content for people who already know your story, but now you're telling them about the product. Like, actually, these socks are awesome because they're quick dry, or, you put them on and they make your feet look amazing, or whatever it might be. The elves come with and help put the socks on, like whatever the features and benefits of your product is. And then you've got those people that are really kind of interested, but maybe they're sitting on the fence, or life just got in the way and distracted them. Hey, so the great thing about Facebook ads is you can retarget people that have already been to your website. Maybe they even added something to cart, and then they've forgotten or they've got distracted by work or whatever it might be. And then you're just like, hey, don't forget about these awesome bright colored socks that you wanted to buy. And then they can come back. Or you can overcome an objection, which might be, hey, you know, right now, I know you need these for Christmas. We're upgrading you for free express shipping so you can have them right now.
Yeah.
You know, any kind of objection busters that you've got. So yeah, introducing the brand, then introducing the products, and then overcoming any objections is basically like 3 different tiers of content, whether you're doing organic content or paid ads. That's kind of the different levels that you've got to show people. And there's always going to be people that are at those different stages. And it's the same with all of your marketing, your email marketing, your website. It needs to answer questions for those people at those different stages.
I love that. And I love that you said, you know, don't give up if you've kind of just dabbled and then it maybe hasn't worked. I think people forget that any kind of sales and marketing, whether it's organic or paid, has to be optimized. You actually have to do something and then look at why it did or didn't work to do more of it or less of it.
You know, we're talking e-commerce specific funnel, and there's different kind of funnels that you run for, you know, service-based businesses. And quite often people will come in and then just teach that to an e-commerce brand, and it just doesn't work because they don't do the same strategies. You know, they're like, hey, have a free download. It's like, well, I don't really want a free download. You know, in e-commerce, having a competition to win something works a lot better, because if the prize is your product, you know, the people that are entering are wanting that. So then, you know, you're also getting people that are likely to want to buy it if they don't win, things like that. So yeah, if you've tried Facebook ads and you put it in that, didn't work for me, maybe get it back out the box and give it another whirl with a bit more strategy behind it.
Yeah. And I also love your point about, you know, because you said it before in your introduction story as well, like taking the wrong advice from the wrong people. But you're so right. There are people out there that teach their way and then kind of try and fit it into all industries.
I'm sure it'll work for this as well. It's like, no.
Totally. And you do have to, as a business owner, find people who are experts in your industry or the field, like, or the marketing or whatever, excuse me, that actually have results. And like you said, like, listen to case studies or, you know, talk to their customers and, you know, make sure they're actually the right person to be teaching you the thing first.
Like, people ask me about Google ads. I was like, awesome. I've got someone that does those amazing. It's not me, because I can't keep on top of Facebook ads and learn Google, because that's a whole nother ball game. Whereas there's people that offer both. I'm like, can you really be good at both? You know, how do you keep on top of everything?
Yeah.
My pet peeve though around asking the right people the right things, when you're in a big business group and then people jump in and go, oh, this is my product. Can you help me pick a logo? Or how much would you pay for this? It's like, you're asking the wrong group of women. If these group of or people, if these people aren't your target market, then their advice doesn't matter. You know, their advice is based on their own internal things, and whether or not someone says, yes, I'd buy that, and whether they actually give you the money and buy it is 2 totally different things. So always asking the right group of people or the right person for advice, not just a random Facebook group. And people do it to make these huge business decisions, and I just cringe every time I see it.
Oh my God, it is so true. I see it all. I mean, a couple of we won't name names. I'm probably in one of them that you're talking about, but you're so right. And it's like, if you're just starting out, you know, there's plenty of helpful people that you can go to that are your potential customers to ask. Like, people are pretty good. Like, I mean, yes, some people will say, no, don't want to chat, but people are actually pretty good people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But if you've got a customer base already, like, they are the best people to actually be speaking to before you actually change anything in your business or build a new product or create a new course or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Pre-sell everything with e-commerce. You know, it's amazing because you can build this community. And then once you've got that community of people, you can go, hey, I'm thinking about bringing out this. Which one do you like better? Or what would you like to see? Asking, you know, there's polls, there's questions, there's all sorts of ways you can do it. And then also, okay, this is what I'm creating. Here's where you can go and buy it, and it'll be ready then. Yes. And if people really want it, they will pay you for it. And then you can go, oh, well, only one person bought it. I'm not going to bring that out.
Yeah.
Or, hey, 100 people bought this. I'm going to go and make it now.
Yes.
So, you know, make people put their money where their mouth is.
Oh my God, that is literally the best advice. And I love you. So you talked about website builders before as well. So like you can literally, if you've got an idea, you could literally spend an afternoon, throw together a landing page,
Definitely.
start sending it out to people who you think are your ideal customer. Literally ask them to pay for the thing that you're creating and see if it works first before investing
you can
money.
get a free trial on Shopify, so it's not even going to cost you anything.
Yes.
And now they have a promo. It's like $1 a month for the first 3 months. So you could really plug this product for 4 months at the grand total of $3 and like, see if that market's actually there before you then go into production. And I know so many people come to Unstoppable that have all this stock sitting in their garage because they jumped head first. They bought the product, then they tried to sell it and went, oh, it's not selling. So, I don't want that to be you. If you're listening and have got this great idea, just build the community. That's the first thing. That target market. A lot of the time, if we've created a product ourselves, we're not selling somebody else who's actually manufactured something, it's because we had a problem and we fixed it for ourselves. So then your network of people are probably going to have the same sort of problem. So just create that community of people and then go, okay, made this or I've designed this because it solves XYZ. Would you like to buy it too and support me in this? So just build that community first. It's
so good because you're right. I think like everyone gets caught up in the excitement of a product.
Oh yeah.
Like I have so many ideas for products. I have to just put them on a notepad and think
like
about them.
An entrepreneurial curse, isn't it?
Yes.
Like all the time I come up with things and then I sometimes forget and then I go off on tangents and start all these other little micro businesses and then I have to pull myself back and go, no, Karyn, you've got to focus.
Oh my God.
And except for this one, and it kept eating at me and I'm like, oh, I should do it. And it was this idea to have like a digital lay-by where you paid off things.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'll put that one in the too hard basket because I'm not really sure how to do it from, a development point of view. And then a few years later came Afterpay and I was like, I'm not sure if I can swear on this podcast, but
swear up.
Bug up. And then another moment when they sold for $1 billion that I had a few more choice words.
Oh my God. Look, and it's hard though, right? Like it's kind of like, business is really difficult, you kind of have to just pick one idea. I mean, I say that and I've got like 3 business brands going on at the moment, but that's fine. But they all are work, right? And so I don't have kids. I was thinking about this the other day. I've been chatting to a few people with businesses and kids, and I go, I don't know how you.
It's a whole nother dimension, really.
And so then I kind of go, well, maybe that's why it's okay that I have a couple of businesses because one are like my kids and one of the business, so I don't sleep at all. But they're all so hard that it does take up all of your time. So you kind of do have to be a bit choosy. But the flip side to that is you're right. Like sometimes if there is a niggling idea, you do want to get out there and test it and jump in. Like if you're, someone dialing in that's in a corporate job and you've got this big idea, you don't have to quit your corporate job, but you kind of do have to know that, it is difficult and if you're going to
some time.
But there's no reason why you can't test it on the side, like create the landing page, see if people are keen.
So many people on my students side hustle to start with. And then once they get that momentum going, like my favorite email is when they go, I've quit my job, and they're all in on their e-commerce business. But at the same token, like the whole reason I work for myself is for that flexibility of time. So I'm never going to be that person that hustles. Okay, if something's going on, I work all the time, sure. But I also can go, oh, you know what? My kids got a swimming lesson today. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to work later. Or, when she goes to school, I want to be that mum that's at every assembly. I want to, go to the sports carnivals. I don't want to miss out on that. So I think you need to kind of, because you get lost in the hustle. It's got to be huge. I've got to be bigger. My friend Emily Osmond was talking about this on her podcast the other day, actually, that we all have this mentality of bigger is better. And that's like the measurement of success is bigger. My business has got to get bigger. I've got to have more staff and do this and this and this. But when it really drills down to it, I'm a huge Denise Duffield Thomas fan. I noticed you were reading her book the other day.
Yep.
So she's got Chill and Prosper. Highly recommend it.
Mm.
It's not sponsoring this podcast, but maybe it should.
One day, it's my dream.
and she's all about sort of living life in your own terms, making things easier, and working the times that you want and not when you don't want. Another friend of mine, Katie Griffin, she's Google Ads. She's amazing at Google Ads.
Oh, I'm on her email list. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Her emails are so well written. She's amazing. But she works 3 days a week. She's got 3 kids, or is it 4 now? Oh, so many kids. And, she's like, on those other days, I don't work. That's my family time. She's got help for those days where she does work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, it's so good to see women that have created these businesses on their own terms.
Yes.
Because I feel like that hustle mentality became so popular. Social media spread it as this hustle. You've got to, work and grind. And the busier you were, the better it was. And you're right. How are you going? Oh, I'm busy. Oh, awesome. I try not to. You tell me you're busy. That sounds awful.
Yeah. And you're right, because you mentioned it earlier as well about the office space. Like that was a definition of success. We've moved into our office and we've got all of this big team and I'm like, yeah, and look, if that's what you want to do and the type of business you want to build, cool. But I feel like people do it because they think they've got to do it.
Yes.
Whereas I love the Denise Duffield Thomas example too, because she's a very wealthy woman. She talks about so I can't remember what the second book is. I'll Get Rich,
Lucky Bitch.
Yeah.
Yes, my favorite book of all time.
But so she's talking about, she has, multi-million-dollar house, $1 million in savings, 7-figure business. She doesn't have an office, she doesn't have full-time stuff. She has the
few contractors here and there,
contractors. You can actually be a very wealthy business owner without those things. Yeah. So it's not like saying, well, I have to do the hustle and I have to have the office and I have to have the team because I have really big dreams. It's no, you kind of need to think about how you can achieve those huge big dreams in different ways. Get creative. I
think we've grown up with a lot of hours equals money, time equals money.
Yeah.
Whereas these days with online business and things like that, and training one-to-many, there's so many ways to make money without having to work longer and without having to do more and without having to grow that team. I'll always be a boutique agency. I don't have dreams to be this big, giant agency with lots of staff. The idea of managing lots of staff just gives me total anxiety. Yeah. So I'm happy with
I'm not doing that again.
They're not doing it again. I just want to I'll never probably have more than 10 clients because I like being able to know them all. I chat with them all. I email them every week. I jump on a call with them every month. I know them all really well and they're all lovely now. I only work with amazing, beautiful clients, which is so different to my early days where I would just take on anyone because I needed the money. And, now I'm just like, no, I've got boundaries now. And, if someone's difficult in the lead up, I'm like, nah, you're going to be crap to work with. I'm not working with you. Whereas if, they're really, I'm more of a relaxed, down-to-earth kind of person. If they're like that and we gel on a call, I'm like, yeah, cool. Do you want to work with me? They're like, yeah, sounds good. I'm like, okay, great. I'm not that salesperson that's going to, teach amazing sales and things like that, but it's not one of my finest skills.
But that's probably why you're amazing at it, because I'm a big believer that it's just relationships. It's relationships.
That's what it's all about for me.
And just numbers. So it's like, I'm the same. I'm like, I will never push anyone into it. If you want what I offer, great. If you don't, there'll be somebody else. And, and like you say, business is hard. So work with people who actually give you energy, not drain your energy if you can.
And you just touched on an awesome thing there, because I used to always stop myself and go, well, who am I to go and teach this? Somebody else is already doing that. Back in the day, Amy Porterfield was known for teaching Facebook. Yeah. So she does webinars now. But another thing that I've loved over the years, total tangent, is live events, but small ones. I went to an event called Tropical Think Tank in 2014. I begged, stealed and borrowed money and then insisted on a payment plan, even though that wasn't an option, and got it. Awesome. And Chris Ducker was running it, and Pat Flynn was there, John Lee Dumas, the podcast guy, Amy Porterfield, Oh gosh, I feel bad now for forgetting other people, but there was like, I think 7 like speakers and
Wow.
25 attendees.
Oh,
And it was at
wow.
like a 5-star resort in the Philippines.
Oh
And
my
we
God.
all hung out, and like, like I was playing pool with John Lee Dumas, not really knowing who he was. Entrepreneur on Fire, if you want to look him up. And
That
then
is
we
so
were just talking,
cool.
and then I'm like, holy shit, like these guys are huge.
Yeah.
So it was amazing, some of the people that I met, but the relationships that I made, not just with them, but actually with the other attendees.
Yes.
And that's what I loved. So I love those small events because you get to have a real bond. And, I went on, a lot of my business stemmed on from that because I met this person who met this person. One of my best friends, she's lives in Perth, but we met because I was friends with someone from that event who then was friends with her. And then we, like, it's just so much flow on from that. But
And
what I was
that
coming back to was, sorry, my tangent, I'll swing it around.
Oh, good. I just didn't want you to miss it.
Like, I looked at someone like Amy Porterfield and I went, oh, well, I can't teach Facebook ads because she's already doing that. Who's going to buy my course if she's got one? And then it took me a while to realize some people just gel with me, right? And they'll want to hear it from me. Yes. And other people won't gel with me and they'll want to hear it from someone else. And that's cool because there's other people out there for them. But it's amazing how many times, I hear someone go, oh, I'd done Facebook ads before and never really understood it, but I love the way you explain it. And then you realize, well, some people just need to hear it from me. So if you're thinking about doing something, but someone's already doing it, that's okay. They might need to learn that from you, and there's enough people in the world for everyone.
Yes, totally. There are enough customers on the planet.
Yeah. Heaps, right?
It's like the whole Woolworths Coles thing, right? So supermarkets are always on the same block. There's always 2 of these giant supermarkets in the exact same area. And it's like, if you thought about that from like the lens of the, business owner who's worried about competing with people, you'd be like, why the hell would they do that when obviously everyone will just go to one? It's like, no, people go to the one that they like, and they're both positioned in an area that has plenty of customers. It's just the same. And that's like, we talk about standing out online and being different. And, sometimes it is hard when you look at yourself and you're like, well, I'm kind of offering the same thing as everyone else. So it's like, no, your superpower is your uniqueness, your unique lens and voice that you bring to the problem you solve for people.
And that's why it's so important to put yourself in your content, because if you're only putting out, oh, Facebook this, Facebook that, and you're not going, hey, I'm Karyn, I'm the one that teaches the Facebook, then you've got no differentiation. They could go and learn that from somebody who they do connect with. So like you say, sales is all about those relationships. People get to know me, I'm a bit silly, I'm not super serious. But I just happen to be good at this Facebook ad thing and I can teach it, but the calls, like I have student calls live every week and, we go on these massive tangents and talk about absolutely different stuff to what I'm supposed to be teaching, but they love that. We have this super close-knit group of amazing women who all support each other's businesses. It's so nice. You go on Instagram, you see one's posted and then the others have all commented and, they get behind each other, which is so nice. But it is that community that you make and those relationships that you make. And then every now and then you'll put out an offer and go, you know what, I'm going to run this thing. And then they go, oh yeah, cool. I'd love to do that with you because I like you. I trust you, that whole know, like, and trust. And then, then you'll get some people in. Whereas if you're hiding behind what you sell, then, you're not going to make those relationships.
It's so true. And I think in the world that we live in on social media, where there is just so much content everywhere, people want to see your face, and I know it's not for everyone. I know showing up on camera sucks most days. But it is true. You are so right. Like when you're scrolling through content, if it's just, quote tile, stock image, blah, 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 it's when you see the human and them talking that you're like, oh, what's she saying? That looks interesting. I want to know more about that.
Yeah. Showing up camera is hard. I don't know if you, well, you can't see me, but half my face is paralyzed. So when I had my baby, I got Bell's palsy.
Wow.
And for most people, it goes away within a few weeks to a few months. They kept saying, it's going to go away. It's going to go. Anyway, here we are nearly 2 years on. I've still got it. So I smile, this side doesn't work. So when I first got that and it was much worse. It was like hanging down. My whole face was drooped. I couldn't shut my eye. Like, I was like, I'm never showing up on camera again. No one is ever seeing me until this is gone. We had a video podcast at the time. I was like, nope, audio only now.
Wow.
It took me probably 3 months to kind of leave the house properly. I finally started showing up in videos for my students, but I always felt the need to warn them first and tell everyone that I was going to run into, what it was, because God forbid they, would stare or want to know. Or I'm like, obviously everyone's asking. And now, it's just like a practice thing, really. I just started showing up again. I was like, well, you know what? I can either close my whole business because I never want to show up on camera again.
Yeah.
Or I'm always telling my students, be the face behind the brand, just, be real, just get on there. And I'm like, I can't be teaching that and then not showing up myself. So I just eventually just started showing up again. And you know what? Nobody cared. No one even noticed, really. And, I personally, so self-conscious about it at the beginning. Now, it's been nearly 2 years. I'm just like, well,
you're over it now.
Away.
Whatever.
It's what it is. I used to meet people and like tell them, and, I just threw that on you. Then I probably hadn't mentioned it. You might've looked at me and gone, oh, it's got something weird going on with her face, but you're polite enough not to say anything. But yeah, now I don't even warn people. I just like, this is just who it is. And so if you've got something going on, you think I can't possibly be, on camera, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. The easiest way to start is kind of maybe doing stories because they disappear.
Yes.
So, if you hate it, it's going to go away. But then it's literally just about showing up over and over. And like, if you go back and watch some of my first videos or first Facebook lives, when that came out, it was shocking, absolutely shocking. Now, confidence, you just get it from practicing something over and over, I believe. So
yeah, that's so true. And it's interesting because, at the end of the day, people are so yes, people want to see you and know that there's a human behind the brand, but at the end of the day, they're kind of coming for the value you bring them. So, whether I know we both had a joke about the fact that we did our hair and what have you, but and yes, I know you don't, but yeah. And it's, look, I do that because
are awesome.
Yeah, so true. I'm very pro filter. I know that's controversial.
I put on the mascara filter all the time.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I can't be bothered doing my makeup. Oh cool.
So
filter.
Done. It's magic. But people are coming for the value, for that transformation, for the education that you bring them. So you can kind of cut yourself a bit of slack, if you're showing up for your audience and talking to them about, giving them a tip or giving them an insight that's actually going to make their day better. They don't care that you haven't done your hair. They will take that lesson, apply it in their life or business or whatever industry you're in. And that's the thing. They'll look at you and go, she's the one that made a difference in my life, not she's the one that
they're not going to go, oh, she taught me this while wearing this and while her hair was like this. Like, they're not going to remember that bit.
Exactly. I love it so much. Okay, so we could talk all day, but let's leave Spark community with one last insight. Tell me, if you could give a new business owner one piece of advice, what might it be?
Oh, just one. Okay.
I know. I'm like, we could write a book here,
Just one. Be kind to yourself. It's going to be a hard journey, but it's totally worth it. I would say that's my precursor to the advice, just so I can sneak some more in there. I would say probably find somebody who's done what you've done and like either just reach out for support or reach out and say, hey, do you know anywhere I can go to learn this? Because like you say, people are real people behind these brands. And most of the time people are more than happy to help you, because once somebody's successful in business, I think they've already come to that realization that there's enough for everyone. Yes. So I'm always about collaboration over competition. So just reach out. And if they don't help, reach out to the next person, because somebody will.
Amazing. Karyn, you are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights with the Spark community. It was a ball. Had a ball.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was heaps of fun.